Welcome back. You're watching KTN News Desk. Many thanks for staying with us. We are still on our top story of the hour. 7 union officials of the doctors' unions have been sentenced to 1 month in jail. And joining us now is Makueni Senator Mutula Kilonzo, who is also one of the lawyers who tried to defend the doctors' union officials, and is joining us live from our city center studios. Thank you very much for joining us, Senator. What is your immediate reaction about this particular sentence by Justice Helen Wasilwa?
I think it's a tragedy that the judge did not heed to our call, that the issue of the sentencing of the doctors for contempt of court on the order issued on 1st of December 2012 was done in error, to the extent that the suspension of the sentence was tied to the negotiations that they were supposed to do. And that is the order under which she has jailed the doctors. Yet we have not, the court has not interrogated whether or not the parties who are supposed to be involved in the negotiations themselves have participated or have failed. In my own view, and from the reports I have from the officials, is that both the Council of Governors and the Ministry of Health have done everything possible to ensure that the doctors are jailed. And therefore, the court has failed absolutely to realize that this jail sentence was hung on the doctors' officials as a sword of Damocles for them to negotiate. There's nowhere in the world where you negotiate in a position like that. And we were seeking her to review or suspend the sentence so that everybody can negotiate on the table on an equal platform, which she failed to recognize. But there is hope, because the Court of Appeal has given a date for 15th of February, which is in another 2 days. And we hope the doctors will receive bail, because we cannot have a situation where the doctors are negotiating or purporting to negotiate when their officials are in jail. I'm urging them to suspend any negotiation or any discussion until the doctors who are in jail are released. That is the only way these discussions can go on.
While delivering her judgment, Justice Helen Wasilwa said today that there is no new information, or they've not shown any cause why she should review that particular sentence. These arguments that you put forth in court, and what next?
I've said that first, I disagree with that entirely. The reason is because the order was not directed at the union officials only. I've stated that the order issued on 1st of December by her colleague was to the extent that they were going to be what is called an all-inclusive negotiations. A similar order was issued where the Ministry of Labor was supposed to be involved. And therefore, to demand then for the doctors to issue a report, when ideally the report should come from the stakeholders, that is the Ministry of Health and Council of Governors, is, in my view, erroneous in law. And I said so. We didn't make a plea for her to receive the report from the doctors. The plea was that the persons who need to be directed by the court to sit in the negotiating table should come also to court and be equally responsible for any default, in this case, contempt of court. But she went ahead and jailed the doctors. Ask yourself the question, and every Kenyan who has sent me a message asking the question, how will jailing 7 doctors resolve the situation? Can the court jail all the doctors in Kenya if they fail to go to work tomorrow or later today? It's a tragedy. The courts must be able to assist the cause of justice and not become an impediment, because now the courts have become an impediment to what is called industrial action. And it is a grave tragedy. And if I was to be asked, the minister in charge of health and his peers should be censured and removed from office for this sort of thing, which should not happen in a developing country, or a country which is saying that health services is part and parcel of our Bill of Rights. It's a tragedy when you jail doctors, when they are demanding for better pay, yet all of us leaders, ministers are enjoying perks for work we do not even do. I'm disappointed.
Yes. Before I let you go, Senator, Court Secretary General, who was supposed to arbitrate this particular situation, has attributed the failure to broker a deal to the wrangles between the CS for Health and the PS and the Ministry of Health. Do you share the same sentiments?
I share the sentiments, because the meeting that was held in State House in Mombasa, the minister was not even aware. It was arranged by the PS. When we came to the negotiations, the PS was not available, and I'm aware that even, in fact, up to yesterday, the doctors had agreed to a lot of the clauses, the contentious clauses, some of them that have not been agreed upon, could not even be signed on. The ones that they agreed upon could not be signed on because there were no officials. There were no senior officials to sign to this deal, and we had proposed that, in fact, the portion that was not in contention should have been signed and presented as a report so that the 7 days that were being sought for would have been only for the very few clauses that were contentious. To jail doctors in such circumstances, when we had made such progress, is such a tragedy. I cannot even repeat and forgive me if I appear to be a little emotional about this, because how do you jail doctors who are not criminals, who are just demanding for better pay? How do you reconcile that with the law?
Senator, thank you very much for joining.